What is going on, everybody? How are we doing? Going to do a little Go Low podcast because we got a lot going on. I'm going to Chicago this weekend for LIV Chicago. Me and Colin, refereeing Bryson and Phil. So if you know them or they're watching, we want to have you on. So we will be there hanging out on Saturday. Never been to Chicago, so pretty excited at Bolingbrook Country Club. And a lot going on in the golfing world. So I thought I'd take a little pause today from football. We got the Cam Young finally gets off the schneid and wins a PGA Tour event for the first time in his career. We have the FedEx playoffs officially starting this weekend. So we'll kind of dive into that from a gambling perspective, who I like. And we will also do an @GoloPod as the Instagram. We separate the football Instagram mailbag questions and the golf mailbag questions to @GoloPod. So fire in those DMs, get your questions answered here on the show. Very, very easy to get involved. But before we dive into Cam Young and everything else going on, I got to tell you about my friends, my partners, and the official ticketing app of this podcast, GameTime. Best in the business. Download the GameTime app right now. It doesn't get any easier to use. What do you want to do? Do you want to go to a football game? We're less than a month away from college. Way less than a month away from college. And probably about, I think, week one, Cowboys-Eagles Thursday night is September 4th. So we're less than a month away from the NFL. And September 5th, pretty sure, is Chargers, Chiefs in Brazil. So on YouTube. So we buckle up for that as well. Very, very excited. We got football season right around the corner. Any game you want to go to, concerts, comedy shows, you name it. It doesn't get any easier to use. I'm telling you guys, I've been using these guys for a long time. Best in the business. Easiest application to use as well. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app. Create an account. Use the code JOHN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account and redeem the code JOHN for $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Okay, let's dive into Cam Young. And I was thinking about it actually over the last couple days, and really when he won on Sunday, is for a long time, golf is not football, basketball, or baseball, right? You could be a really good baseball player, never win anything, and make a ton of money. This is 30 years ago, let alone nowadays, right? Same thing in basketball and obviously football. Winning doesn't go hand in hand with having a very lucrative career. Typically in an individual sport, right, when you think about golf and tennis, like the really famous players making all the money are the guys winning the most. Tiger, Phil, Nadal, Djokovic, Federer, right, Pete Sampras. But there are the occasional outliers. Like Andre Agassi's career, if you just put it parallel Pete Sampras's, doesn't look the same. But he was a marketing machine. Ricky Fowler is not nearly as accomplished as his buddies Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, but he can push some product, and he has printed cash. So you either got to be a great winner or, the outlier version of a marketing machine. And then there are the occasional guys that come really close, and then start winning, like Xander or Tony Finau, and then accumulate a lot of money. Cam Young, who there's no disputing his talent. I got a good buddy named Scottie Raber. He is good buddies with Spencer Levine. And Spencer Levine I've played golf with him a couple times in the Sacramento area. He played on the PGA Tour for a while, was one of the best amateur players in Northern California when I was in junior high and high school. And now is on the Korn Ferry Tour. Actually just finished second literally last week in Utah. And he told Scottie a story probably like 4 or 5 years ago that he was in an event, a Korn Ferry event with Cam Young in Chicago. This is before Cam Young had made the PGA Tour. And it was the Sunday or the last day of this event. It might have been Saturday. Awful weather. Rain, wind. And again, Spencer has played against Phil, has played against Tiger, has played against Rory. Jim Furyk. Ernie Els, you name it. Some of the best players in the history of the sport. And on this day, Cam Young shot like 4 or 5 under. And everyone else, no one sniffed par. And he's like, this is one of the best rounds I've ever seen. Cam Young, when he's on, and he was just last week, when he's putting well, obviously I think his driver can get a little squirrely. There is no disputing. He is one of the elite talents in the game of golf. in pro. I mean, you're talking Scottie, Rory, Bryson in a pretty special category. Then you get to like the Xander types. Like Cam Young, when he's on, is in that type conversation, right? I mean, we're going to get some random guys probably on this Ryder Cup. Ben Griffin, really talented player, playing really well. Like just from a talent standpoint, Cam Young's more talented, right? He PGA Tour Rookie of the Year, guy that's finished second a bunch of times. But golf in 2025, like these guys are very, very lucky to be part of this product. You know, this is not the NBA or baseball where guys have been making a ton for a long, long time. Cam Young had made $20 million basically before he had won an event. And unlike Ricky Fowler or Andre Agassi, no one's calling Cam Young a big personality. If you watch the TGL, and I don't blame you if you didn't watch much of it, it was kind of boring after a while. But that was the thing on ESPN2 with the, you know, the track man with the big screen. Listen, there's some Justin Thomas, pretty big personality, Billy Horschel. Like the PGA Tour has some guys that will, Phil Mickelson, Bryson, guys that are just, can just kind of carry you when you put a mic and, a camera in front of them. Cam Young is not that guy. There is not much there. I mean, he's bringing little to nothing to the table in terms of personality. Hell, he finally wins, and which I admire, shows absolutely zero emotion, excitement. I mean, very on brand for the guy. And all these guys right now, and we get a lot of complaining a couple years ago, and Xander with the Ryder Cup and the no hat pat, and we should be paid. And listen, I'm as pro-capitalism as anyone you're going to meet. But there are certain situations where it's like, God, I mean, don't bite the hand that feeds you, because this is, and CBS is having a great year. Their golf is up 17% based on last year. They have some events that you're like, how is the John Deere Classic up? So now clearly they're factoring in streaming. Golf's popularity, because it's pretty simple. Like people often ask, like, why isn't hockey as big in America? Because kids, like the reason I watch football or basketball and love those sports as a kid, like I played basketball in junior high. I played football in high school. I love golf, but I played high school golf. People that play the sport in their youth, junior high, high school, obviously college, tend to gravitate to that sport as they age in terms of a viewer and as a fan. It's easier to relate, not that you can play like these guys, but if you play casual golf, if you are a golfer and you play once a week with your buddies on a Friday afternoon or Saturday or whatever, right? Over the course of the next couple years, you're going to be more inclined, if you're flipping channels and see it on CBS or NBC, pro golfers teeing it up, because you're like, I play this too. What do they do? Right? So I think that part of what makes golf unique is the popularity has really grown, and clearly there's interest in the pro game, but like you don't even need to win to make huge cash, right? Obviously Scottie Scheffler, who has accumulated a ton over the last couple years, well, he's been winning at a borderline historic Tiger-like clip. You got Cam Young that hasn't won anything and is just printing money. This is why people get so turned off when guys like Morikawa get in these spats. It's like, Colin, relax, buddy. Like, life's not that bad. You got it pretty good. You play golf for a living, and relative to the viewership compared to these other sports, like Cam Young is a good example, right? If he disappeared tomorrow, the sport would be unfazed. Like, there were really just a couple guys, Scottie, Bryson, Rory, who really impact like true interest in the sport. You could Justin Thomas, Spieth if he's good. It's a very small percentage. I'm comparing none of those guys to Tiger. But there was a reason this was one of the most watched Masters over the course of the last 20 years. When you factor in the story and the guy chasing the green jacket, it was Rory McIlroy. It would not have been the same if it had been Brooks Koepka, or it had been, I was going to say Spieth, probably Xander. It just wouldn't. There are certain people that, just bring more intrigue. And Cam Young is one of those guys that's kind of gliding, or what's the term in car racing when you draft behind the guy? That's what a majority of these guys are doing. Okay, you don't need to sink a 30-foot putt to score big this weekend. Just fire up the DraftKings Sportsbook and take your shot at the green, the kind with dollar signs. Whether you're a diehard golfer or just in for some Sunday drama, DraftKings has everything you need to make the round a little more exciting. Live bets, prop plays, odds boosts, and plenty more. You new to golf betting? It's really easy. You can take a guy to win outright. You can bet on guys to top 5, to top 10, to top 20. Got a couple names for you. Obviously, odds are subject to change. Tommy Fleetwood had some devastating heartache earlier in the season. Well, on this course in Memphis, you got to drive the ball straight, something Tommy does really well. You can get him at plus 2,200 to win. You get him at plus 360 to top 5 and plus 170 to top 10. Another name I like a lot. He was very good in this tournament last year. Viktor Hovland. Remember, smaller fields, the playoff starting, no cuts. Viktor Hovland plus 3,500 to win. I love Hovland in top 5 this weekend at plus 500. So take your swing at winning some dough this weekend. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code JOHN. That's code JOHN. JOHN. That's my name for new customers to get a bonus of $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. And it kind of leads us into the playoffs this week in Memphis. Brought to you by Transfusion 5-Hour Energy. Shots, a hole-in-one flavor sensation. By now on 5hourenergy.com. Here's the thing. They've messed with the FedEx Cup playoffs over the last couple of years. It used to be you made the top 30, you were guaranteed like a minimum couple $100,000, and the winner was getting like $18-20 million as of the last couple of years. They've changed that and kind of split it in half. Like Scottie just got a payment last week for $18 million because they didn't want it all to come down to the last week. They wanted to factor in, the course of the year. Golf's different than basketball or football or whatever. They wanted to value the course of the season. So Scottie Scheffler literally just won $18 million based on his success throughout the season. Rory was 10. Sepp Straka was 6. Justin Thomas, some other guys were like 4.5. So they are just handing out money right now. And listen, I got no problem with it. I said before, I tweeted this out, like, on Sunday, I never understand why the broadcast is so uncomfortable leaning in. Like, the whole point of professional golf, like in football, the whole point of the sport is to try to win the game and then make the playoffs and then win the Super Bowl. So it's not like you don't need to talk about, like, hey, this guy's making $27 million to play left tackle. But in golf, the premise behind an event is I'm trying to win the event or top 10 to make the most money possible. I'm literally just playing golf for money, for prize money. It's really that simple. And I get it, like they never have and they don't lean into this. Like, I don't understand, like Jim Nantz is like, this is pretty impressive. He just sets a new record, $19.1 million worth of earnings before his first win. And if Tommy Fleetwood ever wins, he'll shatter that record. He's well over 30. But, like, that's interesting, and they never talk about that. And the whole playoffs, like the next 3 weeks, it's just this whole thing exists to just give out money to guys. And I think they felt like it was weighted too hard on these last couple weeks. If a Rory or Scottie had a great season and then they kind of shit the bed, like they shouldn't be, I would say, docked that much. So they've tried to give out some early money. And now these next 3 weeks, like this is a huge week because to make it to the top 50, which is next week, gets you into all the signature events next year. And the signature events are where the big payouts happen. So it's basically turned into a tour of haves and have-nots. And everyone's had a million different opinions. And forever when it was 120 or 125 or whatever the number was, I kind of agree with the elite players of like, why are we so worried about the 95th guy? Why are we so worried about the 120th guy? Because in tennis, they are 100% not worried about that. They are dead set on taking care of the top 5-6 guys. And on any given, era, it might be 3 or 4. It might be less than 5 or 6. Now, golf's a little different than that. They go a little deeper. But, like, they have spent probably a outsized amount of energy worried about taking care of the back half of the guys, and the money that gets generated through television isn't really about those guys. Now, I'm also a believer that one organic aspect of professional golf is it is cool on a given Sunday when you have a top player, Scottie Scheffler, a Xander Schauffele, a Rory McIlroy, in a major, a Bryson DeChambeau, a Dustin Johnson, a Brooks Koepka, going up against more of a no-name guy. I do think that's riveting. I do think that's really good television. And the more and more they whack those guys, where everyone just becomes a famous person, it's just like you're not even welcome into our event. It gets a little less interesting. So I think they're in a tough spot. I'm very fascinated how Brian Rolap, the new tour commissioner who is from the NFL, will he make aggressive changes? Does he even have the power to make aggressive changes? How involved is guys like Tiger Woods, who I think, and rightfully so, have a huge affinity for the way things used to be, not necessarily from a financial standpoint, but just the purity of golf. And it's going to be really, really interesting where we go moving forward. But as we sit here right now, it goes 70, 50 to 30. Like the next 3 weeks, I would say are not the most riveting in golf. And I don't get caught up in worrying about like who's going to be the FedEx champion, who's going to win the Tour Championship. I don't really care. I view this more from like, how do we gamble on this? And it can be a little difficult because these are no cut events, smaller fields. I looked at the last couple of years at this event in Memphis, which is extremely hot. Obviously, it's in the heart of the South. I was in the car the other day and I listened. I was flipping around and I ended up on PGA Tour radio, and Wyndham Clark was calling in. And he's played this event, and he was saying that two things. One, it's supposed to be like 95, 96 degrees with insane southern humidity and zero wind. He's like, at least if there's a 10-mile wind when you're playing southern courses in the summer, it cools you down a little bit, but there is zero wind. So tends to be a little bit of a birdie fest. No wind, the heat, it's almost like who can handle the amount of heat. So you got to like some guys from like Texas and Arizona in this event. But looking the last couple years, and they've played this event at this time, so these guys have been used to it. The other thing Wyndham said is you got like this course. If you don't hit fairways, it really limits your ability to score here. So accuracy off the tee is really, really big. And you look like this is a ball striker's course because the last year, for example, Hideki won. Second was Xander and Hovland, and fourth was Scottie. A year ago, it was Lucas Glover, who was on an all-time late season heater, in a playoff against Patrick Cantlay, who was playing better then. And in third place was Rory. So looking at how to gamble on this, Scottie is such a major favorite in every tournament he plays now, and currently he's like under 3-1. So if you want to bet Scottie, I got no issue with you. To me, if I'm going to bet Scottie, I'm going to parlay a couple guys to finish in the top 20. Like I look to take Scottie and then take like Ben Griffin and Chris Gotterup, who are playing really, really well, to top 20, and you can get like that's like 15-1. You bet $10, you win 150. You bet $100, you win 1,500. I also said, well, if you go, Rory's not playing in this tournament. Xander, over the last couple months, has looked much more like himself. A year ago, he finished second, so he's comfortable on this course. You can get Xander right now 18-1. I mean, the gap between Scottie at plus 280 and Xander at plus 1,800 is pretty crazy. Like typically, even in Scottie's heyday, you would get a couple guys like how's Xander not 10-1 or something. But that's a pretty sizable gap. So you're basically just playing, hey, can Xander beat Scottie? You kind of got to like his chances. And if you do that same parlay, Xander with Gotterup and Ben Griffin to top 20, that pays 80-1. I think it's like plus 8,007 or something. So if it's betting like $10 wins you 800. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do the Scottie one. I'm going to do the Xander one. And that's really all I'm going to play. A couple guys, if you like to win just outright that aren't Scottie or Xander. Fleetwood has had success here before. You want a guy that's going to hit fairways and be a ball striker. Hovland obviously was good here last year. He's a guy you can get like plus 3,000, so 30-1. I think it's kind of intriguing. But these really, this week and next week, are probably the last tournaments. That Tour Championship can be difficult because there's only 30 guys, and it's basically going to come between probably one of Scottie or Rory. I mean, are going to win the thing. So I'm actually excited for this week because there's also a lot on the line in terms of Ryder Cup. Let's face it, watching Cam Young win on Sunday, you went like, he's from the New York area. He is an absolute bomber. I think he won a big amateur tournament at Bethpage, so he's comfortable on the course. Like, how's he not, especially if he plays well the next couple of weeks, not on the team? He was already, I think, like 15th in terms of the American Ryder Cup rankings. So it's like he's been in the mix anyway. You wouldn't rather have Cam Young if he's playing well than, I don't know. And I understand like Patrick Cantlay has been a very good Ryder Cup player, but he's not playing well right now. I mean, he's honestly had an awful year. I would say Jordan Spieth right now, he even admitted, like, next year I'm going to feel a lot better. Coming back from injury this year was weird. I'm much more confident next year. He's basically telling you, like, I haven't played very well this year. How are you going to take, if Cam Young plays well in one of the next 2 weeks, Jordan Spieth over Cam Young just because of what he did 4, 8, 6 years ago? Who cares? That's the same thing with Goddard. Like, if Goddard plays well these next couple of weeks, I just have a hard time seeing Cam Young and Goddard, guys from the area that bomb the ball and that are playing really well. Like, their momentum has to count for something. And I do think Keegan Bradley, who on was it the original Netflix or was it the season 2 of the Netflix, when he got left off Zach Johnson's team for the Good Old Boys Club. I'm not saying that he has a vendetta against everybody. He's probably cool with them all. But you can't imagine that he hasn't thought, like, if I'm given the opportunity to blow all these guys on scholarship, like if they're not playing well, I'm going to do it. And guys like Cam Young, Chris Goddard, they got a chance to really disrupt this thing. And I'm not saying to kick Morikawa to the curb. He's currently, I think, 8th in the Ryder Cup American rankings. But he has not played well either. And, like, his whole juju and vibe has been off. He's gone through, like, 17 caddies in the last 3 months. So I think there has to be some guys, and Keegan's already said, whether he picks himself or not, if you are not in the top 6 and automatically qualifying, you are not guaranteed shit. So it happened to me, and you better get ready because it will happen to you. But you also need some of these guys to step up and play well for everyone to feel good about, especially Keegan, picking them. So, I'm going Xander to win with Goddard and Ben Griffin to top 20, and I'm also doing the same thing with Scottie to win, Ben Griffin and Goddard to top 20. Can I tell you about my friends at Mando? Here's the thing. Summer is upon us. Where I live, I think it's 110 degrees today, and I'm a sweater, and I don't like smelling. So the key with Mando and their deodorant, it has sweat control. So not only does it block the odor all day, but it controls my sweat. I don't like to just be soaked if I'm just walking outside to grab something out of my car. And here's the thing. It was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. So all the products, they're baking soda free, and you can choose from a variety of fresh scents like bourbon leather, clover woods, Mount Fuji is the one I use, or just the go-to pro sport. Want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant formula right now? You can find them in Walmart, Target, and other retailers around the country. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid starter deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like Mini Mando body wash or deodorant wipes, love those, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use the code JOHN, that's JOHN, at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. shopmando.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered. Protect your pits, baby. Smell great doing it. Okay, LIV Chicago this week in Bolingbrook. Your boy has never been to the Windy City. Kind of crazy. Never been there. That will change this week. Flying out Friday. Staying with a man named Colin Cowherd. And we are going to this tournament on Saturday. Not quite even sure what to expect. I've been telling them, like, get us Phil. We can talk football. We can talk some divisional odds. We can talk who we like, to win the conference, to win the MVP. We know Phil likes to gamble. Bryson, content creator, like your boy. So I am just excited to watch this whole operation because, listen, the television product in terms of ratings haven't worked out, but no one has argued that, like, being in the event, I would imagine there's going to be a pretty big turnout. I've never been or seen this course, Bolingbrook, but I can imagine the vibes are going to be high. They clearly put in a lot of money in terms of the infrastructure and the party holes. So I'm excited to see what LIV's bring to the table. Obviously, Bryson, Phil, DJ, Hatton, Bubba's playing well. So we will be at LIV Chicago this Saturday, and we'll report back next week. Okay, let's do a little mailbag. At GoloPod is the Instagram. Fire in those DMs and get your questions answered here on the show. We will start with Sean. I don't understand why all the majors get done so quickly and are not more spread out. It's July and the season basically seems over. Why not have more time in between majors and have the last one in September? Also, hot take. After watching the British Open, I can safely say that links golf is so boring and overrated. Every course looks the same, the grass is dead, and it's a horrible TV product. Yeah, the courses over there have history, but man, give me sawgrass type course any day of the week with lush greens, beautiful trees, and not just flat land everywhere. I'm going to disagree. I enjoy it on television once a year, but I would probably get on board if we saw it 10 times a year. It'd be like, okay, we get it. You need the wind and the rain, or else these guys are going to destroy the course. Uh, I don't think, and this is the problem. I love the Ryder Cup. I mean, I love golf. Having the Ryder Cup, which is an incredible event, going up against college and NFL football is tough. Like Friday of the Ryder Cup is cool because they're not competing against anything. And then all of a sudden you got Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, USC, all these teams playing. The casual sports fan that would consume the Ryder Cup is not going to do it. And obviously you play the singles matches on Sunday. Well, what happens on Sunday? The NFL. And the Ryder Cup's in New York this year, which is really cool. But like, do you think more people are tuning into that or the Jets and Giants game come Sunday afternoon? So I hear what you're saying about spreading it out. I disagree. You kind of got to take advantage of the summer. Like the best thing for golf is once football ends, there's some open real estate. There's a reason that on the AFC and NFC championships that Jim Nance typically it's like the Kansas City Invitational now calls the Torrey Pines from the football booth on, and they do Wednesday through Thursday or Wednesday through Saturday instead of Thursday through Sunday because they don't want to go up against the NFL. So I would not go up against football. I really would not. And I hear what you're saying, but why does golf have to be 12 months a year? It's always a complaint by the players. Like, why don't we get an off season? I think it's a valid concern. There just literally is no off season. So, yeah, I don't know. Why is the hole after an eagle or a birdie so impossible? It's a great question. If you're after an eagle, you're just so amped up. Even if you're a pro, I mean, an eagle's a pretty big deal, especially if it was like, it's one thing if it's like a drivable par four, but if you get an eagle on a par five where you hit a driver and then definitely like a 3-wood or a 5-wood and make a putt, I don't think there's a better feeling in golf. Like it's a cool feeling to like hit an iron within 10 feet and then make the putt. But there's nothing like hitting it on a 2 on a par 5 and then making a putt. To me, that is better than even like chipping in. But you could also argue that chipping in, like there's just a come down from it. And I think most of us, we get a little too excited. We lose our focus. And then all of a sudden you've pumped one in the trees. How good would you recommend someone be to play some of the tougher and more famous courses? I'm new to golf and taking lessons and still scoring in the hundreds. I live in NorCal and want to play courses like Bandon Dunes and Pebble Beach in the next few years before I move, but want to actually enjoy it. It's not fun spending $300 for a round and spend your whole time searching for a ball. I think there are some parallels. Anyone that's skied or snowboarded. No, if you're not very good and you go down a double black diamond, it is a miserable experience. And with golf, one, it's supposed to be a fun activity, right? You're supposed to enjoy yourself. All of us know it can be really challenging, really hard, and really frustrating. But when you pay, you ain't playing Pebble for $300, I'll promise you that. And I don't know how much Bandon Dunes is, but it's not $300 either. And to get to Bandon Dunes for you, you either got to drive, which is 6, 7, 8 hours, or fly, which is not cheap. So it's an expensive. Those two golfing trips are expensive no matter what. So if you're going to spend a lot of money, you don't want to go to a situation where you're going to suck and be miserable. So I would say, I mean, you got to stay there. So unless you know people, you're spending well over $1,000 to play Pebble. So if you're going to play Pebble, I would say you got to be breaking 100 consistently. You could probably go to Bandon playing like you're playing and just enjoy it because it's hard no matter what if the wind is pumping. But I would say the Pebble thing, I would not play it. I've never even played Pebble Beach. I've been there a bunch, but I've never played. I played Spyglass, uh, but I've never played Pebble. But I would not recommend going if you can't break 100. Bandon, you could go with friends, get some caddies, and kind of enjoy yourself. You're not going to lose as many balls in theory. Pebble, though, that to me is a bucket list course, no matter who you are. I mean, Jack Nicklaus calls it the greatest course in the history of the world. So definitely the best stretch is 6, 7, 8, 9. I would. There's a correlation of putting pressure on yourself when you're spending an uncomfortable amount of money on golf. It's not fun if you're not playing well. Have you or anyone played the Takomo Irons? They advertise as being very forgiving and low price point, but didn't know if they were any good. I think that's the iron that Grant Horvat is in business with. I've never have. I mean, I've honestly only hit my own TaylorMade irons for the last, I don't know, half decade. So they're the only. I mean, I've occasionally hit other people's drivers or woods, but I have not hit another iron in a long, long time. In your last go low, when comparing Scottie's season from last year and this year, you forgot to list his win at the Olympics. I'm not saying it's enough for him to say he'd prefer his 24 season over two majors, but it obviously meant a lot to him, and he literally cried during the medal ceremony. How much do you think he values the gold medal in comparison to major trophies and other marquee PGA events? And how much do you value it adds to his legacy? I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check because I don't want to get this wrong. Xander Schauffele. I'm pretty sure that Xander has a gold medal as well. Let me just for argument's sake. Okay. So I think you were alluding to, would Scottie have traded his season for Xander's when he won two majors? I'm right. I did not mention the gold medal. And if I remember correctly, didn't Scottie come storming back on the final day to win the gold medal? Pretty unique accomplishment, even though it's not really like storied in the sense that it's relatively new. I don't think Xander would have traded his because he already has a gold medal. Xander won his gold medal in what year was it? I don't know what year he won the gold medal, but how do they not have it on his wiki page? His gold medal. 2000. He won it in 2020. Oh, because they delayed it in 2020. So yeah, I mean, I think that definitely factors in. And if you're Scottie and you know you're going to win more, I think you'd feel pretty good about uh, the gold medal aspect. Would probably it's fair point, fair point. But I don't think Xander would have traded his for Scottie and all the wins and all the money to add the gold medal because he already had one. So I think it kind of goes both ways. But definitely now that Scottie's won the gold medal, I don't think there's amount of regular events he could win and not trade for majors. Like I think he's at the point moving forward. I mean, he's going to keep winning regular events for sure. But the emphasis on Scottie Scheffler to add to this, can he win? I mean, I think the question mark is now he's at 4. Is he winning 8 to 10, or does he end up like 6 or 7? And I would guess 8 to 10, assuming he doesn't get injured. Like, I mean, I think the over under next year for Scottie is 1.5. Just wanted to reach out and say that after about a month or two playing, I hit a par on a par 3 today and hit my farthest drive as well. With golf seemingly growing, do you think the merger between the DP World Tour, LIV Golf, and PGA can come up with a product to capitalize on it? It's a great question, man. I'm going to be at the LIV Chicago and see if I can get a vibe for like, hey guys, is this we do any mergers? We gonna start playing together? I do think the ball is somewhat in the PGA Tour's court and the new CEO commissioner. I think I've been saying this forever. An easy one is just to waive some of the the restrictions and just be like, hey, do you want to play in some of our events? You guys, John Rahm, you want to play in the Waste Management? DJ Kepka, you want to play in the Arnold Palmer? Bryson, you want to play in some of these events? And kind of start off slowly that way, and then slowly integrate from there. But I don't. As of right now, I would say based on the information we have up to this point, is there is no unification in the near future. So I don't know. I would say maybe it's added some buzz to the majors, but relative to the tours, it doesn't matter. I mean, none of the tours don't have anything to do with the majors. It's kind of sad. Question for the pod. When is the next Breaking 80 video coming? If you had to choose Rory versus Bryson Sunday at the Ryder Cup for the win, or the Ravens versus Chiefs Week 4 matchup, they'll probably be on at the same time. This is what I'm saying. It's just Bryson and Rory are just not, they're not relevant in the sense of you're going up against the Ravens and the Chiefs. It's just not an ideal situation. There's no way around it. I don't know what you do. There's not really any changes you can make. But if you're going to have the Ryder Cup during football season, you're going to come about that. Like it could be Scottie versus Rahm and Rory versus Bryson, head to head, which I would guess it's going to be. What are you going to do? Fleetwood versus Justin Thomas, Ludwig versus JJ Spawn. But I'm actually going to film some stuff today with my friends at 5 Hour Energy. I got to do one soon. We got so football heavy, got married, kid. We haven't done one, but I'm kind of inspired right now. I haven't touched a golf club in a couple of weeks. Congratulations on the upcoming baby. What are your thoughts on transitioning to all hybrid clubs? I'm approaching 40s. My distance has diminished, and I've always hit well with my 4 and 5 hybrids. I currently have 4, 5, and 6. Would you replace your 7, 8, 9 irons with hybrids? That seems pretty bold. Part of, to me, like an 8 iron is, even if you hit it, let's say 130 yards, 140 yards, an 8 iron. It's like, well, you can still, if it's windy, chip it. I don't know how on a hybrid you would hit like a 130-yard shot, would be my question. It's like Bryson. He swings so hard, sometimes he gets close. It's like, how does Bryson ease into a 110-yard shot when he's hitting a 9 iron 190 yards? To me, it's similar mindset with the hybrid. Like, how do you hit something 133 yards if you have a 9 iron hybrid? I'm the wrong guy to ask on that. I would say my initial reaction, even if you're getting older and your distance is diminished, would be no. Okay, last question. Do you think that's a good or bad thing for the Ryder Cup? It was in relation to my tweet saying that Keegan has probably dreamt about blowing up the good old boys club. I would say if guys were playing well and it was like, hey, you just can't lay Spieth, Morikawa, all these guys were no-brainers, it would be stupid if Keegan wanted just to go against the grain because Zach Johnson screwed him. But given the situation, like, what are we talking about? One, at the end of the day, this is an exhibition. This is not a major. I understand, like, Keegan approaches it like a major, and it's really serious to him. But we're also not talking about, like, Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson in their prime. We're discussing Patrick Cantlay, who can't make a cut at a major. We're talking about Jordan Spieth, who just hasn't been that good lately. And we're talking about Cam Young, who has a track record of being a really good player. Chris Gotterup, that ideally maybe he one day can be a consistent Ryder Cup player and a top 20-ish, golfer on the PGA Tour, top 15 guy, top 10 guy. So I don't think it's that crazy at all. I think JJ Spawn winning the U.S. Open really threw kind of a wrench into everything because he's going to take an automatic spot. But I got no problem with anything Keegan wants to do. If he wants to keep Cantlay and Spieth, I will understand it, though I would go the opposite. Like, I get taking Patrick Cantlay. He's been awesome in the event. I think his career record's like 5-2. And he gets into it. So, like, I could see Patrick Cantlay, a little like Justin Thomas, being a bright lights guy. Spieth, to me, is not in it. Like, I don't think you can take Spieth. If you wanted to be like Morikawa, don't like your vibes, you're not playing well, not going to argue either. I think if he picks himself You would like to see a little more signs of life the next couple weeks. But I'd get that too. Like, he's one of our best players. So if he wants to pick himself, totally understandable. This isn't, you're not like a player coach. This isn't an NFL playoff game. Like, it's very doable, I think, to be a player captain. I think it's possible. And I think he's going to be able to focus in doing it given his passion for it. But I think everything should be on the table right now. It's much easier for the Euros to pick the team. Their team is pretty well established in terms of like the hierarchy. Ours is not. Ours simply is not. You know, you feel really good about Scottie, Xander, and Bryson. Even Justin Thomas played pretty well this year. I mean, really well. Uh, I would say most of the other guys on the team. Like, I like JJ Spawn. Seems like a great guy. But, like, do you feel comfortable about JJ Spawn against these guys in that moment? Not really. I mean, do you feel great? Like, Russell Henley, really good player. You bet your life like he's going to kick ass and take names in this environment? I don't know. So it's going to be fascinating to watch. That's what's sad is I wish this event was even during the NFL preseason. I'd be so excited, but it's during football, and it's just most of you guys it's going to be hard to pay attention. Even if you got multiple televisions like Red Zone, Chiefs, Ravens, like who knows who Ohio State and Texas and all these teams are going to be playing. It's just hard to compete with football in 2025.